You'll have to forgive the hair today. I was going to make this video with a hat on, but I can't find it after going for a walk with Sally down the towpath the other day. I don't think as she stole and ate it, but considering she's eaten my shoelaces, I wouldn't put it past her. If you have been watching this channel over the last month, then you will have seen 3 videos related to Victober, one in which I read Dr. Thorne by Anthony Trollope, one in which I read The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins, and my TBR. Those are the only books I have read. I have not read a Victorian novel in over a week. When I finished reading The Woman in White, I decided that I wanted to take a break from Victorian literature, so I had the weekend and read 2 books. Also, weekends tend to be the time when I'm working, and so my focus on reading isn't really as strong as it needs to be when it comes to reading Victorian literature. I also had stuff this week. Obligations. I was in work on Monday. Tuesday I did spend reading, and I read a certain amount of Bleak House by Charles Dickens. However, Bleak House is decidedly bleak, and at times I'm finding it humorous. I honestly do believe that it might be the strongest Dickens I've read in a while. I don't know whether it's surpassing David Copperfield yet. I haven't had that sensation I had with David Copperfield, where it felt like a fully formed tale. I am only 181 pages into this novel, and for me it's very much been a series of vignettes which have been great to get if you wanted that from Dickens, if you wanted this experience of just reading these short vignettes, where he is on form here in creating grotesques of characters and really painting this horrible picture that feels dank and dirty throughout the entire reading experience. But for the most part, I have been focusing on Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is a copy that I acquired from the Whitby bookshop in 2013, so let me tell you my history with this. Whitby is somewhere that I had wanted to go for a while, and for my 21st birthday my mum said that I could go on a European holiday and she would pay for it. Well, that never happened, and I had never been on holiday at that point, so I just started looking up crows. Magpies. I started looking up places that I could go on holiday, and I saw Whitby come up as one of these prime destinations to visit in October, which was the only time would be able to take it. And I saw Dracula mentioned, and I knew Barnes & Noble did these editions, and I thought, well, if Whitby is synonymous with Dracula, then I am likely to find a copy of this book in their bookshop. And would you know, I found a copy of Dracula by Bram Stoker that I wanted in cellophane at the Whitby bookshop. Now that everyone has gone again, let's see whether I can remember what I was talking about. So, decided to purchase Dracula from Whitby because of the associations with Whitby, and have never got around to reading it. Whitby is mentioned a lot, and I was very thrilled when I was reading one part of this, and it described a certain area of Whitby, and I was like, my Christ, she's running all that way, she's going to be exerted. Well, exhausted was, I think, the term I used. And I even mentioned it to my mother, and even she was there. And then in the next breath, Mina happens to talk about how breathless she was from the run. And I was like, well, even I would be. I know I'm asthmatic and everything, but I'd have probably had a coronary on halfway there. Very descriptive, atmospheric, a lot darker than I had expected from Victorian literature. Well, no, when I say a lot more descriptive than I had expected Dracula to be. Well, there are specific scenes to do with vampirism that I hadn't expected to see in such an old book, so I was particularly happy to see them there. I will admit to flipping between this and the Audible audiobook simply because that audiobook has a full cast and it is read particularly well. So sometimes it's nice just to sit there and have a bit of a listen to the people who are doing that recording. But here I am 244 pages in, and I am hoping to finish this one today, which is Sunday the 24th of October. One of the reasons I want to finish this is nothing to do with Victober. It is because I acquired the book Shadowplay by Joseph O'Connor from the charity shop a few months ago. I'd seen this around, and this involves Bram Stoker and discusses Dracula. And it seemed a good companion to read alongside Dracula from what I have been hearing. And there were a few books that I wanted to read outside of Victorian literature this month that I just haven't been able to get to yet. With that being said, what are my plans for this week? Once I finish Dracula and read the more modern fiction, I am going to intersperse that with some reading of Bleak House. I don't believe that I am going to be finishing this book for Victober, but I am hoping to have got a considerable chunk of this book read before I return to work this Friday. I have got the remainder of days off, but I'll be getting into how I've used this holiday time in another video. This is the week that I also want to read Framley Parsonage by Anthony Trollope. This is somewhat shorter than the other books that I've read, well, Dr. Thorne specifically, so I am hopeful to get this finished. And I would definitely like to finish Sylvia's Lovers and the Mary Seacole book this week. I think that it's all possible if I just use my time appropriately. I don't have any other obligations than taking the dog for a walk and maybe going into town with my mother. In the meantime of doing all this, I do have 2 other books that I specifically want to read at this time of year. I got them out in the hopes of reading something particularly horrific in preparation for Halloween. Not usually a mood reader. Well, no, I am usually a mood reader. I'm not usually a person who reads seasonally. But Halloween's a good season to read some horrific books, isn't it? Otherwise, that's the only update that I've got for you this week. I haven't finished Dracula, and I haven't finished Bleak House, and my Victober went decidedly downhill this week. But we'll talk about that elsewhere. How's your Victober going? Have you been reading much that you have enjoyed? I really wish I'd found my hat for this video because all I can think about is how terrible my hair looks. Yeah, like I say, let me know how your Victober week has gone. What have you read? Have you liked it? Have you disliked it? If you've read Dracula, let me know what you think about that. Have you been to Whitby? Is it a favourite place of yours as well? They do have a Dracula tour that we never went on when we were there, and we have stayed there 3 times now, and it's just a brilliant location. We've never been there for the Goth Festival that happens towards the latter end of October. We've always visited earlier, and I was going to be there this week, but unfortunately it just turned out to be too expensive for me to afford this time around, but I will return one day. Anyway, I hope you have got something out of this video, even if it was sheer boredom. And until next time, that is all.